Okay. Remind me to turn it off. Good morning, and welcome to the November 9th, 2021 regular school board meeting, which I now call to order. This morning, we're going to begin with a moment of silence, and then it will be followed by a Pledge of Allegiance performed by the Northeast High School Quartet under the direction of Scott Bracken-Tripp, choral director. With our moment of silence, with Veterans Day coming up on Thursday, I'd like us to take time to remember those who have given their lives in service, and additionally give thanks to those who have continued to serve and those who have served in the past. Would you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose rough stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Well, it's obvious it was more than a quartet, and we're glad to have all of you here. Thank you very much. Grades and Grit is a video series highlighting some of the district's top athletes and academic achievers. Students are nominated by coaches, athletic directors, and principals for their outstanding success in sports as well as in the classroom. Let's meet Jonathan Miller, a sophomore swimmer from Gibbs High School.
I've been swimming since the third grade, so 7 years. Well, I needed an activity to do, a sport, and everyone can swim. My mom just kind of signed me up for swimming and we just went from there. What I really like about swimming, at least competitively, is that there's no hostility towards anyone. Like, you're cheering for your own people, but you're never cheering against anyone else. When I swim, it's just like completely like I'm separated from the rest of the world. It's just me in the water. And usually it's just preparing myself mentally to get up on the block so that when I hear that beep, I can just go and try my best. When I probably realized I was good was about 6th grade, was when I started doing more meets, and then I actually started getting results. And I realized that I could actually probably take this somewhere. During high school, when I was a freshman, I made it to regionals. In an individual event, I was the only freshman on the team to make it. And just then was when I realized that I really had the opportunity throughout high school to really improve and try to make some waves. My goals in particular is by senior year, I want to make it to states. And every year, I want to make it to regionals at least. I am hoping to get a scholarship for swimming. That would definitely make it a lot easier to pay for college. Personally, I prioritize what I do by what I've done for longest, and academics come first. And then after that is usually swimming, then the band. In general, band just allows me to be just at peace more. A lot of people listen to music to calm down or feel better. I prefer to play music to calm down and feel better. So in general, it just helps me stay in a better mindset and keeps it so I'm able to do all that I do and stay sane. Being a good student is important to me because I do want to go to college and I want to go far in just the realms of academics, and I just believe that it's an important priority. I want to be a marine biologist, majoring in marine biology, minoring in music. I would like to get a PhD in marine biology. I just like the water in general. Well, I've been swimming for so long, but it's just nice being by the water, being in the water, and helping and researching the animals that live in it, that share this planet with us. My main influence, I'd say, are my coaches, my teachers, basically anyone that does something I also do that is better than me, which is most people. But just seeing coaches, teachers, seeing how much they love what they do and how I also love what they do, just seeing how good they are at it really gives me inspiration to be better myself. My time in Pinellas County Schools has helped because of all the programs. All the programs, especially in elementary and middle, that allow you to kind of get into what you like to do, your feeling of what you like to do. And it just helps you get prepared for what you might do in high school like I am now. It just allows you to really get that feel for what you want to do.
Okay. All right. I like the statement that he made that academics come first and then swimming and band follow. It's going to be exciting to watch and see what, just as a sophomore, we'll be able to watch him for the next couple of years. So that'll be exciting. All right, our next thing is the introduction of professional and community organization representatives with Isabel Mascareñas, our public information officer, doing that. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Grego and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. Representing the Pinellas Educational Support Professionals Association, or PESPA, also the Executive Director of PCTA, we have Lindsay Blackenbaker. From the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, we have Nancy Velarde, President. Members of the media in attendance, we have Jeff Solachek with the Tampa Bay Times. Today, we have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome students Claire Marie Singa and Joanna Godfrey from Northeast High School and their principal, Michael Hernandez.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's see if okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Joanna Godfrey, and I am currently a senior enrolled in Northeast High School's Academy of Information Technology. As of now, I am president of our school student government, secretary of Key Club, and secretary of High Y. I have affiliations with National Honor Society and Mu Alpha Theta, Thespians, Yig Crew, and Rotary Club as well. Last year, I was crowned Miss Knee-High at the annual pageant. And this year, I was voted onto our Knee-High Homecoming Court. I received a gold key for my artwork in the Scholastic Art Competition last year as well, and plan on painting a mural for our school this year. I have continued to challenge myself by taking rigorous AP and dual enrollment courses offered at Northeast, and I am now ranked top 5 in my graduating class. I have cultivated many wonderful relationships at this school and have grown close with many of my fellow peers as well as teachers, administration, and staff. And after graduation, I plan on attending college for studies in education, art, and health. I am truly confident that Northeast has given me the skills and opportunities to succeed. It is my pleasure to share with you some of the great academic achievements of Northeast that helped to meet the vision of 100% student success. So our graduation rate increased to 98% with the class of 2021, exceeding last year's graduation rate of 97%. Students annually complete more than 10,000 volunteer hours to qualify for Florida's Bright Future Scholarship program. Our automotive and culinary programs both have established partnerships with Pinellas Technical College to offer dual enrollment opportunities on our campus. Our learning gains have been among the top in our district for high school, including our overall gains in English language arts and learning gains for our lowest 25th percentile in mathematics. 16 varsity teams have qualified for FHSAA academic recognition, earning a minimal of 3.0 GPA. Baseball, boys cross country, boys lacrosse, boys soccer, boys swimming and diving, boys tennis, boys track and field, girls basketball, girls lacrosse, girls soccer, girls swimming and diving, girls tennis, volleyball, and softball share this honor. In 2021, our baseball team were district champions, and our boys soccer team were district runner-ups. We had state qualifiers in swimming, diving, and track and field. Our performing arts scholars have earned superior and excellent ratings in competition, while our art students have had their work displayed in the Dolly Museum, Bethel Virtual Exhibit, and the Dunedin Fine Arts Center. Our chess team continues to flourish with matches around our county, country, and nation, and world, including Harvard University, teams in South Africa, Argentina, and Great Britain. Thank you. Now I will turn it over to Claire to share points of pride.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Claire Singa, and I'm a senior at Northeast High School. Throughout my time at Northeast, I've been a part of several clubs, including High Y, Key Club, Student Government, Mu Alpha Theta, and National Honor Society. I have also had the privilege of holding many leadership positions, including the Blood Drive Chairperson, Senior Class President, Mu Alpha Theta President, and Key Club President. The opportunities I have gotten from Northeast have not only provided me with great friendships and teacher relationships, but have also given me the ability to learn real-life lessons that I will take with me to college, after graduation, and beyond into my career. After college, I am planning to go into ministry and start a church and also a foundation for kids. It is my pleasure to share with you some of our points of pride. Northeast is a national demonstration AVID school, placing in the top 1% of over 5,000 schools that offer AVID nationwide. AVID's system of college readiness prepares students in the academic middle for college and ensures a school-wide college-going culture. Northeast was re-evaluated this school year as the National Demonstration AVID School. The Academy of Finance, or AOF, is just one of 4 programs nationwide to earn Model Academy status 10 years in a row from the National Academy Foundation. AOF has been nominated for the 11th straight year for this award. AOF and culinary academies are Pinellas County programs of distinction, the highest honor possible for academies. Students competing in Future Business Leaders of America, Skills USA, National Scholastic Art, and multiple performing arts organizations have won titles throughout academic competitions. Local businesses annually support Northeast with over 20,000 volunteer hours. This includes partnership with Achieva Credit Union, AM Skills, to expand our work within our manufacturing academy, and Raymond James, just to name a few. Our football coach Sean Davis, our boys lacrosse coach, Luke Stibbe, and our girls lacrosse coach, Shannon Mazza, have been named Pinellas County Coaches of the Year in their respected sports for 2021.
To close, our school has spirit, a positive culture, and pride. Northeast has been recognized by the state of Florida as a gold-level PBIS model school. We believe all students can succeed with the 3 A's: outstanding attendance, a positive attitude, and hunger for achievement. As Vikings, we build strong ships. Scholarship, relationship, leadership, partnership, citizenship, and sportsmanship are embedded in all that we do. Once a Viking, always a Viking. We thank you for your leadership and support.
Good, thank you. And we have Principal, oh, there you go. And we have Principal Michael Hernandez here with you to be able to see the chorus as well as the students that have done an outstanding job representing your school. And I am not surprised that Mr. Dudley has something that he wants to share.
Absolutely. Well, as not only a former faculty member, but I am also alumni of Northeast High School back when it was the old school, not the new school. I couldn't be more thrilled. What Joanna didn't tell you is I also taught her mother. Well, as old as I am, I probably taught a lot of them. So, and I think it's, I need to mention also the fact that Mike Hernandez, wonderful principal, and of course, he followed Mr. Kevin Hendrick as a principal, and we have been very, very blessed. We principals, and Pat Wright also was a principal there. So I like to think of Northeast as kind of the gateway to administration. You go to Northeast, and you're going to be up here someday, Mike. It's just a pattern. I'm so thrilled that the school has certainly weathered some tough times here recently, as all the schools have, with the COVID, and our student body has acclimated very, very well, and under the leadership of Mike, and great student body. I just couldn't be prouder when people say, once a Viking, always a Viking. Damn right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think he's wearing your school colors today, too, so. Yeah. Okay, so we will move on. Thank you for the very nice job that you did. Dr. Grego, are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are no amendments to the agenda, Madam.
All righty, board members, any items to be pulled? All right, seeing none, I will accept a motion to adopt the agenda.
I motion.
Okay, Ms. Hines with a second from Mrs. Long. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no, and it passes unanimously. We now move to the presentation of the proclamation recognizing November 2021 as Family Engagement in Education Month. We have a motion to adopt the proclamation? Okay, Mrs. Kane and Ms. Long seconded it. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, family involvement and community involvement is always at the top of priority in our school district, and I know it is for this board. Especially over the last 18 months or so, we've seen us kind of pivot into different ways of engaging families. I'm very proud of what Dr. Brim and the rest of the staff has done to not take the foot off the gas pedal, so to speak, in the area of family engagement and community engagement. So we're thrilled to bring this resolution or proclamation to you. But Dr. Brim, you highlight some of the things that you're doing in your department.
Yes, Madam
Good morning.
Chair, board members, Dr. Greco and staff. November is designated as Family Engagement in Education Month. It is an opportunity to celebrate the vital roles of all of our families and our parents in their children's education. As Dr. Greco has said, in the last 18 months, some of the silver linings that we really have realized is that parents They are engaged and they want to remain engaged. They want to be directly connected to their child's teachers or teacher. They also want to be communicated ongoingly. And so with some of those pieces in the desire to want to be trained. So Pinellas County School is committed to partnering with our families for successful academic, social, and emotional development through the education, empowerment, and support. Our office has worked diligently to facilitate that throughout our district. We have created a district engagement team with representatives from all departments to guide, facilitate family engagement across the district. The district team is focusing on a pilot program working with our reading recovery schools to actually increase the family engagement among our first graders. We have also participated in reading recovery training with those teachers, as well as conducted reading recovery training for our families, so that beginning in first grade, their engagement is very important throughout the duration of their child's education journey. Additionally, across Pinellas County Schools, we develop family engagement action teams so that those action teams in the schools will also increase their robust engagement as aligned to our district plan, as well as the feedback from our families. We provided workshops face-to-face, webinars, we're conducting virtual home visits, and we're doing interventions and skills and practices so that families understand their child's, the standards, and what is it expected for them to learn at the end of the school year. The Office of Strategic Partnerships provide trainings for leaders, teachers, support staff, and parents on effective and positive communication and authentic collaboration between families and schools as we work together to educate our students. More recently, and I'm very excited, we added a bilingual coordinator to our office to support recruitment of Hispanic mentors, volunteers, to help those families that are working or bringing their students to our schools to increase in training. We're working with community partners in our South County schools to develop actually authentic conversations around some of the needs that they see, some of the things that we need to be trained on to better that communication. So I'm very proud that we are doing some very, I think, intentional work, and we have 340 students that participate in our after-school 21st century program, which we also train all of those families. We keep them abreast on some of the learning skills that are necessary in those elementary schools. So thank you very much, and I thank you very much for your continued support. Mrs. Kane works very hard along with us to make sure that families are engaged.
Madam Chair and the board, I think you remember I provided you this information, also the Family E-Learning Coaching Initiative that is going out to the families to get students and families set up with their laptop computer, troubleshoot any minor problems, major problems, so that things are going, and also provide the connection in terms of whether there is a future problem or challenge in the home use of those laptops. So it's another extension in terms of how we're really trying to reach out to the families. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, Mrs. Edmond, would you please read the proclamation?
Family engagement in education. Whereas parents and families are instrumental in helping children reach their full potential, and whereas parents and families support homework at home, participate in school events, are active members of school groups, and support the work of teachers, administrators, and all school personnel. And whereas a strong partnership between educators and families is necessary for our children to achieve success in home, become productive citizens, and contribute to our communities and societies. And whereas District staff are available to provide information, resources, and training to support families and educators in making informed school choice decisions so families can be actively involved in the academic achievement and development of students. And whereas Family Engagement in Education Month is an opportunity to recognize the critical relationship between families and schools and the work being done through the district to ensure we work together to build better futures for all children. Now, therefore, we, the Pinellas County School Board, do hereby recognize November 2021 as Family Engagement in Education Month and encourage families and schools to continue to create strong partnerships on behalf of our children. Signed this 9th day of November 2021.
Very nice, thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the proclamation recognizing November 2021 as Family Engagement in Education Month. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. We now move to the presentation of the proclamation observing National Education Support Professionals Day, which is November 17th, 2021. Do we have a motion to accept?
Motion.
Okay, Mrs. Long, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Edmond, seconded. Dr. Greco.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, I know you've repeated this statement many a times that we couldn't do what we do without our support professionals. This gives us an opportunity to stop and pause and to say thank you, not only in a proclamation, but to say thank you for the work that you do every day. So Ms. Paula Texel is going to present this proclamation to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. I am truly honored to be here this morning as we acknowledge our wonderful support employees that we have here in Pinellas County Schools. And I say this every year that even though we appreciate them all through the school year and throughout the year, November 17th, 2021 is specifically designated as National Educational Support Professionals Day. These employees, as you know, support our schools, they support our teachers, they support our parents and the community as a whole, each and every day of school. I would like to take a moment and recognize Ms. Nellie Henyas, who is, I'm going to ask her to stand up, please, our president of PESPA, as well as Lindsay Blankenbaker, who is our executive director for PCTA PESPA, who are here with us this morning, and wanted to thank them for the work that they do in supporting our support employees in our district. Again, we are proud to present this proclamation honoring these employees, and I know we do have a proclamation to read.
Very good, yes. All right, Mrs. King, would you please read the proclamation?
Proclamation of National Education Support Professionals Day. Whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality. And whereas education support professionals are an integral part of education process, and whereas the education support professionals provide a safe and healthy learning environment for students, whereas educational professionals work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. Now, therefore, we, the school board and superintendent of the Pinellas County Schools, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, November 17th, 2021 as National Education Support Professionals Day.
All right, thank you. All right, I think that we have a motion and a second to adopt the proclamation observing National Education Support Professionals Day of November 17th, 2021. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no, and it passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now we move on to our public input. Members of the public have 3 opportunities to address the board when we gather for our meetings. The first opportunity is during public comment on the agenda items. The next opportunity is when there is a public hearing, most of which are policies. Lastly, after the meeting is adjourned, we will remain for public participation when speakers may address items pertaining to the business of the district. At each of these opportunities for public input, board members are here to listen. It is not a time for discussion or debate, and we will not take formal action on information brought forward unless it is pertaining to an agenda item. However, the board and superintendent may clarify statements or refer speakers to the proper staff person to help work through concerns. The board is committed to a standard of civility and decorum in the conduct of our meetings. And whether you disagree or agree with the viewpoints expressed by speakers, please refrain from showing audible support or disagreement. We also ask that you assist us in maintaining a civil and constructive environment while confining your comments to the business of the district and refrain from profanity or intemperate or rude remarks. Thank you. And you will have an opportunity at all three of those times this meeting. Do we have any speakers on agenda items, Mrs. Hawk?
Madam Chair, board members, and Dr. Grego, there are no speakers.
All righty. Then that makes this part go through very quickly. So we'll move on to unfinished business. We have a public hearing to consider amendment to policy 2250, fundamental schools and magnet programs. This is the second reading, but there's one change since our last reading. Do we have a motion to adopt?
A motion to adopt?
Okay, do we have a second? Second. All right, Ms. Hine? All right, Dr. Grego.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, and for the public's knowledge, this board reviewed these policy changes at length at our last workshop, but I'm going to ask Ellen Truskowski, the Director of Student Demographic Assignments and Student Capacity, just review the changes and also the policy in its entirety.
As
Good
you
morning.
know, district application programs are one of the many different options or choices we provide families. We begin the process each year. We have a review team that consists of family members, it consists of schools, it consists of coordinators. We'll go through and look at any of the issues that may have come up through emails, phone calls, as well as any aspects that the schools themselves asked us to review. So what was put forward was a compilation of all those results. The only change we've had since the first reading is that the beta program at Gibbs High School is trying to align to this more successful PCCA. So we're replacing the economics piece with an entertainment piece. And so being able to bring a more of a music production and technical theater aspect to that with the financial side of the entertainment piece.
Okay, is there any discussion? Dr. Carr?
Thank you, and I just want to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work that's gone into the division under your new leadership, including these policy changes, but also your proactive approach to making sure that we've communicated the variety of offerings in so many different ways, creating marketing and ensuring that the community is aware of the over 80 certification programs and the variety of applications that are taking place. I think the presentation done recently where you educated all of us as parents and who are navigating this process was very well done, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the new and newly remodeled area in and hearing the new name, right? Is there a new name?
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay, so really looking forward to the evolution of this department because it's such an asset and so important to so many families because it's our point of pride knowing the offerings that are available to folks. As we even heard in the student's presentation this morning about Pinellas County offering such a wide variety of options at both elementary and middle, not only at high school. So thank you for your hard work and your leadership steering the ship down there.
All right, good, thank you. Do we have any speakers to this agenda item?
No, there are no speakers to this agenda item.
All right. So we have a motion and a second to adopt to amend policy 2250, fundamental school and magnet programs. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. It passes unanimously. Thank you. We now move to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Okay, move approval from Ms. Hine.
Second.
And a second from Ms. Long. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. It also passes unanimously. We are now going to move to our non-consent items, and we have 8.1, setting a public hearing and authorizing the advertisement of the public hearing to consider the amendment to policy 8600, which is our transportation. This is a first reading. Do we have a motion to adopt? Okay.
Second.
Mrs. Kane and Mrs. Long. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and board members, if you remember, this is a policy change that Mr. Herbeck brought at our last workshop to try to ensure that we have smoother transitions and bus stop, the bus stops in itself, and try to make our routes more efficient. So Ms. Dull, who's the Director of Strategic and Impact Officer, I'm trying to learn all these titles as people are being,
Exactly.
it's not easy. It's not easy. Ms. Dull, I know you by name.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Grego, staff in the community. Today I bring forward a policy for setting a public hearing. The policy is number 8600, transportation. This policy was reviewed at board workshop on October 19th, and if approved today, would move forward for second reading in January of 2022. It would actually be January 11th, pending the board vote at the organizational meeting later today. Within the policy changes that are brought forward in this for these amendments and consideration is an update to the language around isolated transportation, specifically to give the superintendent authorization to disperse funds for families who need this based upon the policy. The actual consideration for isolated transportation remains the same. This would just allow expedited reimbursement for families who do fall into this category. The other two changes within here are designating the procedures manual for the transportation handbook, and also looking at updating our crossing for multi-lane roads, specifically and only for students in grades 6 to 12. So nothing would change for students in the elementary grades. And there are stipulations as to when crossing multi-lane roads, through multi-lane roads, would be allowable and would be reviewed prior to anything aligned to our safety standards. So bring forward today for posting for a public hearing.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, Ms. Hine?
I would just note that I appreciate the level of detail on the types of three-lane roads. Not all three-lane roads are created equal, and Mr. Herbeck and your team, I really appreciate you putting in different stipulations as to which and when that would be considered. So thank you for that very particular attention to detail on our student safety.
Absolutely. Any others? All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Kane, a second by Ms. Long, to set the public hearing and authorizing the advertisement of the public hearing to consider amendments to policy 8600 in transportation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. It passes unanimously. Our next is to request approval of the COVID sick leave pay memorandum of understanding with the Pinellas County Teachers Association, which is PCTA, and Pinellas Education Support Professionals Association, which we call PESPA. Do we have a motion?
I motion.
Okay, Mrs. Long. Second? Okay, Mrs. Kane. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and Board, I'm very excited and happy to be bringing this MOU. It is, as you see, the agenda item going to be backdated to the end of September, really October 1st. And Ms. Texel, thank you for working so diligently on this to help our employees. And that's what this item is actually about. So thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Grego, and staff. I am here this morning to request approval of the tentative agreement for the COVID sick leave pay memorandum of understanding with both PCTA and PESPA. Since March 2020, the Family First Coronavirus Relief Act provided paid time off for employees who were unable to work due to reasons related to COVID, but has since expired. The district and PCTA and PESPA bargaining teams recently agreed upon specific terms and conditions for which employees will continue to be paid either through paid sick leave or through the use of the district's sick leave bank when quarantined. Both bargaining units recently approved this MOU, which will be in effect until December 17th, 2021. We believe this agreement is so important that it provides employees with the ability to get paid following the agreed upon guidelines when they are required to quarantine. The leave provided in this MOU will be granted retroactively to October 1st, 2021 for anyone who qualified while waiting for the ratification and approval to take place. The Covet team has kept track of these days for the employees. They worked with the secretaries to ensure proper coding took place and will make sure all adjustments are made. So on behalf of the superintendent's staff, we are highly recommending you approve the agreements with PCTA and PESPA.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve the COVID sick leave pay memorandum of understanding with the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association and the Pinellas Education Support Professionals Association. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, our 8.3 is to request the approval to apply for the American Recovery Plan elementary and secondary schools emergency relief funds under the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act for 2021 for $191,395,285. Do we have a motion? All right, Ms. Hine, second?
Second.
Okay, Mrs. Long. Dr. Grego?
Yes, Madam Chair and board members, I know Teresa Price is already up at the podium there to discuss this, but I want to take a few moments to kind of bring us back in time and also have a more thorough discussion about this, and also give pause to say we're going to continue to have discussion about this. It's on our December 8th workshop agenda that will go through each and every item as we have in the past with numerous workshops prior to this. And so let me review some of the framework, but let me also say that I'm very proud of the fact of how hard we have worked to get our application in. And I look for tremendous approval from the State Department, and also there's a benefit of us getting it in sooner rather than later, is to receive that feedback that we might have and also make any adjustments as we progress. So the framework that we've been using in this district, we've been using that buckets. Remember in the workshops, each of the bucket managers came and spoke with the board members about this. We didn't know our exact allocation. We did about 2 weeks ago. There was a lot of discussion. Is the state of Florida going to be applying for ARP? Well, yes, they did. Perhaps later than others, and then we had a very rapid turnaround. It seems to be how that goes. But our staff, and I want Teresa to really recognize the staff that's been working 24/7, and I'm not exaggerating that in terms of the hours they've been keeping to try to get this application, at least a framework of this application in. So let's take a look at what we're discussing. If you remember the buckets that we talked about in 2 prior workshops and even over the summer, the main one is on accelerating learning and the school year programming. Remember, we talked explicitly about expanding the VPK programs, and not only 2 years, but further than 2 years out. We're going to redesign our voluntary pre-K programs. The rising kindergarten program, summer program that we established, we're going to continue to keep. And so all of these things are going to cause us and require us to shift our budgets so we don't face a fiscal cliff after 2 years. As you know, these funds are expired in September of 2024. So it's a 2-year proposal. It's 2 years on purpose. I think the federal government and our state recognizes that the impacts of COVID aren't just going to go away. It's not like a light switch that, okay, that's over and now everybody's back to where they were, but that there was a recognizable achievement gap that took place across all areas and all students and all communities. And so we're going to work very hard to implement intervention programs where you remember Mr. Hendrick talked about the Project 23 with teacher units that will be in our schools for the next couple of years to work on intervention strategies and work with small groups of students. Also, the expansion of tutoring programs, not only outside but also inside employees. I talked with principals, and principals are looking at even hiring some of our own high school students, some of the students you listen to here who are in the IB program, Honor Society, they all need hours. And so this is going to be a collective push that we're going to continue to work and expand our tutoring programs. And also, we as a board and we as a district have talked about it's a great opportunity to enrich, not only interventions, but enrichment programs throughout our STEM camps and before school and after school programs, expansion of the arts. We're in touch with the Arts for a Complete Education and working with them. Also, specific strategies are targeted many of our subgroups, perhaps groups that have lost the most learning over the last 18 months, our students with disabilities. Some of our subpopulation are English language learners, and many of our Hispanic and African American students who the gap was already there, and we need to continue to work diligently to close it or to eliminate it. And now we're looking at where it is now and recognizing even greater amounts of effort and resources have to be put into this. In the area of curriculum and professional development, we're talking, let me remind the board that we've really focused on the best standards, the state standards, and how to provide teachers in this county tremendous professional development with stipends, obviously, and ensure that our classrooms have the book libraries and our students have the resources that they need, VPK and all the way up through high school and beyond. We're also looking in this area to expand our digital platforms and really expand the learning opportunities in those digital platforms. We feel like we're on the cusp of something truly great with Level Up and many of the other outside expansions of those platforms. We had our first swipe at an enrich or robust summer bridge program. We put transportation. All of these things cost money, and we're going to continue to work and to provide transportation. And also to some of our schools, we're looking at the results of that, expanded the summer program, the summer bridge program day. And again, added different enrichment programs to that. It wasn't all academics. Where we have started that summer bridge program, it was math, science, and reading. We've expanded it, and some schools are electing to go a little bit longer, another hour, another 45 minutes. Our parent and enrichment, family enrichments, you heard from Dr. Brim this morning, but she and her staff are working very hard to take a look at what are the materials and what are the opportunities, like the flyer I shared with you, that we're going to reconnect and really continue to enhance that connection with our students and our families. Also, a bucket that is allowable that we're going to take full advantage is our own infrastructure, our systems modernization. I think we referred to it. And that is our own data systems, our student data systems that can allow student learning to be tracked not only by teachers but administrators and district administrators without having to go to multiple dashboards, but all these dashboards go into one so that we can solidify and also streamline some of that work. And then our student support services. You know, the reality that we've seen and you've recognized is that COVID did impact the mental health and stability of this community as a whole, and our students are a part of that. So the COVID impact training and the triage teams that Dr. Donna Sicilian has put into place, and we're going to continue to enhance that training for staff and recognize and support the students, especially for their mental health needs. The areas of student engagement, we're going to continue to implement anything we can do before school, after school, as you heard from the seniors today, and you'll continue to hear. Students remember how they were engaged in schools. That's what attracts them to those things. And also what we're doing in the area to really provide positive school cultures. And we're going to continue to work on our restorative practices and our equity work and those things that are going to bring our school community and the characters of our student body and the diversity of our communities together. And then there's a bucket of operations. Just as recently as last week or 2-3 weeks ago, our incentive pay for substitutes have truly helped. Our increased pay or incentives that we place for bus drivers that continue to help. We're conducting a complete study of all our air filtration and HVAC systems under the direction of Mr. Herbeck, and we're going to continue to change out and work with the right filtration systems, and also the much talked about water filling stations, and what should they look like as we move out of this pandemic. And some people have discussed different things, so it's an opportunity to kind of redefine what those things look like. The last bucket that we shared with you, even in our workshops, is the oversight and supports. And that is that as we travel down this road, we see various things, units for virtual education, units to keep schools whole because of missing teachers, or teachers that perhaps are the impacts of COVID. We've kept schools harmless along the way, and we've used a lot of these funds to help support our schools, our principals, our teachers, and so forth. We had our first board workshop back in, it seems, a while ago, because the ARP, the actual bill was signed in, I think it was March 11th, if I'm correct. I'm going by memory. So, but we had our first board workshop back in May of 2021, and we had focus group meetings. I want to thank Jennifer Dull and Dr. Corbett and many others, Beth Herendine, for organizing that. We had focus meetings of teachers, school leaders, district staff, support staff, district administrators, PCTA and PESPA, as they're recognized today. We shared and worked with them on those focus meetings for both the ESSER funds and the ARP. Even though we didn't know the exact amount, we knew and we anticipated it to be a part of our budget. We then reached out to the community partners in July through October. Examples such as the Pinellas Education Foundations. I presented during the Superintendent's Roundtable those same areas. COQUEBs we presented, the Hispanic Achievement Committee, and again back in September 21st at the school board workshop. Notification of the ARP, as you know, came at the very end of the day just about 2 weeks ago, October 27th or so. And for us, it was, as noted in your packet for request to apply, was $191 million. And I guess when you get to that and change, or there was another, I don't have the figure right in front of me. Mr. Kapersky and I will be presenting in front, I think November 18th, the PCC PTA meeting to review this and gain other additional input. And also, I want to close by reminding everybody that as a 2-year grant, this will be, I think, the creativity and innovation that our district has put into this proposal early on. And I'm very thankful that we started this back in May and did not wait. I feel for districts who kind of waited for that application to appear on October 27th. But we started this planning process and started this building process early with you, with the community, and so forth. And I want to say that even though we'll be submitting an application, that planning is not going to be over. As we discussed in our last workshop, the staff and I will be presenting every quarter, alternating. We're going to be presenting a budget update and then a strategic goals update. Back to the budget update and strategic goal update. So as I mentioned earlier, on December 8th, we'll be having a full application review of that application and take further input on that. And then in January, we're going to have a strategic or strategy update. So you can see how that train is already going to be going down the track. And I believe this is going to be a way of work. It's going to be an exciting time, but that's got to be a very fiscally responsible time too. That the things we spend money on are things that we believe are going to not only impact but positively impact students. One of the things I look at for our application from a global point is that over 90% of all dollars that we're applying for are directly to help students. And that's important. Yes, I've mentioned some things about HVAC and filtration and other things, but over 90% of everything in both in the ESSER and in the ARP is direct support of students and academic achievement. That's the primary goal. And that's the goal that I think Teresa says it best, if you want to come to the mic, and when she says we need to look back 5 years from now and say, so how did we do? But that question can't be we can't wait 5 years from now to ask ourselves that question. We have to continually ask ourselves the question every quarter or every day, in fact, with the people closest to the work in terms of its impact and its outcome measures. So, Teresa, thank you for the work you've done over the last week or two. when you received this application to today.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. Good morning, Dr. Grego and community and staff. Thank you for having me here today. It is a very exciting time. It is a lot of work, but it's such exciting work. Just watching everybody be involved, not just the committee that's been working on the grant application, but the steering committee work that Jennifer Dole and Dr. Corbett put together early on has been absolutely spot on for being here today and being able to tell you that we're very close to wrapping this grant up and putting a vote on it. I can say other districts probably aren't there, but it does go with all the work that we did, the pre-planning, the pre-approval process. So I just want to thank you all and thank my team who has been absolutely putting in the hours this week and doing a fantastic job. The purpose, I think you're very aware of, for the American Recovery Act is for us to recover from the pandemic. We'd like to take it farther. We'd like to say we want to surpass where we were prior to COVID. And so that's been our go forward goal, is to how can we be better than we were prior to COVID. So I can tell you that the steering committee members have taken that to heart. We're seeing excellent plans coming. So with the steering committee, all departments have been involved: teaching and learning, operations, professional development. We had representatives from the area superintendent, so that we were making sure all voices were heard and we weren't missing anybody. We came up with our long-term plans, which you've seen a couple of times now, so that we spread that money out, and we're constantly looking at sustainability. Dr. Corbett, if he doesn't say it once, he says it 10 times during a conversation to make sure that we don't end up in a fiscal cliff. We don't want to end up hiring a bunch of people, or in 3 years we've got to let them go. Everybody has to have their eyes on what's going to continue, what they're not going to continue, and how that leads to our end goal. We're also constantly thinking how it connects to our strategic plan as well as school improvement plans. We want to make sure we're hitting the students that need the most help with the most funds. Along the way, we're monitoring the dollars, obviously, making sure that we're staying within that budget. And we meet on a regular basis. We had set up for weekly. Sometimes things happen, but it is a very regular basis that we're considering all points of this plan. So with this plan, we had to come up with an instructional continuity plan, which we did one prior to or at the end of 2020. We had to redo it by September 30th, and Mr. Hendrick handled that with his department. And that's just to say how we're going to continue education if we were to end up back in a situation where we had to be at homeschooling or any sorts of kind of emergency situations. That was due in September, and we will have to continue to update that. That should bounce off this grant application. Dr. Grego alluded to the fact that we've done quite a bit of community engagement. We do see that ramping up. We're also adding to the website. Very raw, but it's there today. We have a Let's Talk button so that if anybody wants to add communication or share with us feedback or any ideas, they can do that through the Let's Talk button on the special projects page. We will be putting a lot of the graphs that you've seen before, as well as ones going forward, up on that page to keep the community aware of what's going on with these funds. The state had put in their application, and so I just wanted to make sure we read it so we had an idea prior to this application coming, maybe what we were looking at. So the state has money put into reading supports, tutoring, regional resiliency teams, STEM accelerator, and PT to close the achievement gaps. I'm happy to say that when we look at all of the allowable uses and the Florida State plan, the way we've planned or pre-planned for this application, there is a complete connection. When you look at our accelerated academics, you look at professional development, you look at the operations piece, all of it completely aligns with what the state had put in for their federal grant and what we're going to put in for ours. On the agenda item today, you saw how we've kind of laid out where those funds will be spent, and that aligns right to our focus plans. When we got the application and we looked at our process, We put an approval process in place so that if one of the focus group members had a request, they would put in a request form, and it would go through special projects first, so we could align it to their long-term budget, make sure it sat there. We could also look at the strategic plan and any other initiatives. From there, we send it to the budget department, and they'll review it to make sure it's in line with the correct kind of function and object codes, things like that. Make sure that we did our math correctly on fringe benefits, and then it goes to Dr. Corbett. And he considers it from all those same angles, and then it comes back to us. So each and every request that's been made up to this point that they wanted to be part of this plan has gone through that process. It does take a little while, but we think it's so important to make sure that we're not overlapping any, somebody's not overlapping an idea or a project, that we're making sure we're considering subgroups in every single one of those project areas. That was one of the things we talked about, was making sure that no matter what it was, are we thinking about any students that are struggling? Are we thinking about our economically disadvantaged students? Are we thinking about our students with special needs? So that came up in every conversation. I know that our process has been a lot. We meet a lot, we talk a lot, but I think to the point that we are going to have an outstanding application. I feel very confident that we have done our due diligence, and these funds are going to make Pinellas County Schools better in instruction, better in professional development. And at the end of the day, that was what I said at the beginning, was I wanted to make sure we, at the end of 3 years, we could say, wow, this is what we accomplished with this pandemic, and then, help we were given on the backside. This is where we got to. So I'm really excited. I do want to recommend that you approve us applying for these grant funds. And I look forward to sharing with you along the way how the plans are coming along.
Good. Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you. No, okay. Mrs. Edmond?
I would just like to thank you, Dr. Grego and staff, for all of the work that you've put into organizing this plan, as well as keeping us informed ahead of time. Dr. Grego, as well as yourself, mentioned that we've been talking about this, I believe, since May. We knew about the buckets, and some of the things you spoke to just recently about your groups and committees meetings, so that we're not overlapping or duplicating initiatives and spending funds. That we don't need to spend. I also was informed that things can change, so that's good to know that if there's a need that we see something else, the way these funds are allocated, it could be shifted. So I just want to thank you and your team for all the work that you're putting into this.
Thank you.
Dr. Carr?
Thank you. I also thank you very much for your hard work. I would also like to urge our community to go to the special projects. I think some of particularly the community partnership presentation, and then also the early workshop presentation, I think exemplify the successes we had with the prior. It really explains to everyone how the money was spent, and we are able to reflect back and see where there was success with some of the early, like ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and now. So I think it's a real opportunity to demonstrate how this way of work has been effective. I know this is at a larger scale, but the consistency of alignment with the district strategic plan and the way of work with collaboration. So I would urge the community to check out those presentations and follow up with that. Contact us, or let's talk at the bottom with questions, because it's important going forward, particularly with this much money, that we're very clear and accountable to how we're spending it. So thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? Well, I appreciate the fact that, the planning has gone on. There was a very short turnaround time on this application, and because of that, we were primed and ready. So that's good. Congratulations. I am particularly pleased with the fact that we're going to be looking not only at how that money is being spent, so that we don't have the cliff that Mr. Smith is, really, really watching, as well as the rest of us. probably even more so than the rest of us, but he's, we want to make sure that that doesn't happen because we've been there, done that. And, but also looking at the academics and making sure that the budget continues to align with what we're trying to do. So having that every quarter will be just tremendous as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for adding that as part of the plan. And I look forward to continuing to talk about this as we move along. I think this is a tremendous gift, and I think we can do wonderful things for our students with it. And I'm just very, very pleased and appreciate all of it that everybody's gone into.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Any other comments? All right.
Thank you, Teresa.
We have a motion and a second to grant the approval to apply for the American Recovery Plan Elementary and Secondary Schools Emergency Relief Fund under the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplement Appropriations Act of 2021 in the amount of $191,395,285. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. And it passes unanimously. All right, we'll now move to items introduced by the superintendent.
Yes, Madam Chair and school board members, as Mrs. Cook mentioned earlier, this Thursday is Veterans Day, and I want to say that there's a number of activities taking place for our school district. I'll be attending the Palm Harbor Middle School. That's the 37th annual Veterans Day celebration. They do such a great job. Students from the National and Junior Honor Society and Future Business Leaders of America will be participating and really sponsoring some of that, but there'll be veterans from throughout the Palm Harbor community. Madeira Beach, K-8, is also doing a school-wide assembly at 8:45. I'll also be attending then that evening Osceola High School and Middle School. They have at the auditorium, a veterans concert that evening if anyone wants to attend. It starts at 7 p.m. So this is just some of the many, many events that will be taking place on this Thursday. So happy Veterans Day. And thank you for your participation and your promotion of it. Thurgood Marshall students, we have a student, Evelyn Allen, who her artwork was selected and will be on display at the Capitol. And the Capitol competition that they have. And so her artwork, and you see not a sample, but you actually see the artwork that will be traveling to Washington, D.C. Evelyn was inspired by the environment and wildlife she experiences living here in Florida, and in her description of the work, Evelyn said she created the piece to advocate for how beautiful, threatened, and important our ecosystem is to us. Congratulations. And State Representative Michelle Rayner will be delivering this artwork to the Capitol. We're very proud of our student, Evelyn. The Jazz Studies pilot program at Sandy Lane, I want to thank not only the Ruth Eckerd Hall for partnering with Sandy Lane's new magnet program and the leadership there, but also Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation is piloting a jazz studies program called My Journey with Jazz, and they'll be performing at a variety of times, and under the band director Frank T. Williams III will be there and will be performing and will be working with students. So thanks to and kudos to the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. It's another example of really an enriched partnership with our schools, and great things are happening at Sandy Lane Elementary School. I encourage you to visit that school and especially in the arts as we continue to grow that program. Ashley Grimes, certainly a shout out for her. District Pre-K through 12 Physical Education and Health Specialist was recognized by the Council of District Administrators for a state award she received last week at the Society of Health and Physical Education annual convention. So congratulations to Ashley for representing Pinellas County so well and also representing the subject area. Tonight I'll be attending the Call Me Mr. signing ceremony. Tonight we'll welcome the first cohort of future teachers at USF. The signing ceremony will be a formal commitment along with the University of South Florida's College of Education, and we'll be there and not only saying congratulations to the students, but work hard, and you'll be coming here to work in Pinellas County. And then the I want to recognize, and sometimes we don't as much as we should, but the Jennifer Dull presented, I think Mrs. Cook mentioned that she presented at the Council of Great City Schools a couple of weeks ago. Well, she did such a fabulous job that she was invited to speak to the chief academic officers from throughout the United States. And she did that, and she just really represents us very well. Her presentation, the original one, even had a lot of technology problems with it, but she overcame those. I don't think I would have been as patient as she was, but she just continued to move on. So, Ms. Dull, thank you and congratulations for not only your presentation, how well you put it together, but just representing us so well. As I mentioned last time, we had a board meeting that we are rolling out the community's open house in all of our community schools. Elementary schools, November 16th from 9 to 10:30. Middle schools, November 30th. And these are all on our website, by the way, from 10 to 11:30. And our high schools, November 30th, also from 8 to 9:30. And we're encouraging families to come in and visit our schools, take a short tour of our schools, meet the principals, see the students in action, and really open our doors to our communities for a short period of time, but certainly enough to get a feel for it. And then if parents need additional time or need additional tours, they can always do it by making special arrangements with the principal. I want to also highlight the Pinellas County Schools host the Spanish language virtual workshops where Spanish-speaking families can participate in the workshop and learn about applying for the magnet programs or district application programs, or even our community school outreach that we're doing, and our VPK programs, and this goes on and on, I can say this. And we've gone tremendous lengths to really reach out to our Hispanic families who speak solely Spanish. We have our Facebook page in Spanish, and that is tremendous enrollment with that. So thank you for that. The last thing I want to bring up is I did provide, just as a quick update, as you know, it was advertised, and you probably read it in the paper and others, that the USA Foods discontinued their contract with districts, over half the districts in the state of Florida. And we did lay out the plan, not only in the workshop, we mentioned it briefly, but in the last board meeting in greater detail. In the consent agenda item tonight, you had some purchases of refrigerated trucks and some others. So we're going to be good. I want to say thank you to Mr. Herbeck and to the director, Lynn Geis, for working tirelessly to ensure that there's no disruptions in our meal program. Cisco will be the food products that you've received in your purchasing. They'll be working with us along. We worked with Sun State to purchase 2 refrigerated trucks for food distribution, and we're also renting some to see the need for those as we move forward. This transition will take place after the holidays, right? So we'll be fully taking over in January, and we feel very comfortable with doing so. It's, when I say very comfortable, it's something we haven't done, and we'll try it out, but I'm very comfortable with the planning that is taking place and the thoroughness between Mr. Herbeck and Len Geis. So thank you for doing that. And thanks to our principals for being understanding. Hopefully this is going to be seamless on their receiving end. It should be, I believe. So we're just excited to give this a shot, and the circumstances provide us no choice. So we appreciate that. My last comment to the board and to the public and to everyone who may be listening is to have a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. This will be the last time we meet in this forum. It's a great time of year where you can eat all the pumpkin pie you want and turkey, and you don't have to give gifts. But the other part of it is that you can just be joyful and count your blessings. So with that, I certainly feel blessed to be working along such a great board and in such a great community. So happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you.
Okay, thank you. All right, items introduced by the school board attorney.
I have no report today, thank you.
That's always good news. Items introduced by board members. Mrs. Kane?
Thank you so much. I wanted to take a moment to celebrate the season, and it's our first and our only meeting in the month of November, but it's one of my favorite months because this is the season of Thanksgiving, and I want to state how appreciative I am to be here and appreciative of all of you and all of our staff. Typically, I'm a person, I like to dig in and work right away towards change because each new season brings us new endeavors, new challenges, new goals, but I think this is a perfect time for us all to pause a moment, consider where we are now and all the work that it's taken to get here, and to really appreciate all that's gone into all of these proposals that have happened today with ESSER and so many other things throughout this pandemic. I am so very grateful to all of our staff, our teachers, our support staff, and our administrators who have worked tirelessly each day to educate our youth, to educate our students in Pinellas County. I am incredibly grateful to be part of this incredible team up here, to have the incredible blessing to be able to serve my community in Pinellas County Schools, and to be part of a team that prides itself on student achievement. Thank you all, for also the community, for being here as well, for taking the time to come and speak at our meetings, for taking the time to do your research and to come and state your opinion. We appreciate that as well, because without that, we would not have a community. Regardless of where we stand on any one issue, no matter how divisive, I do believe that we all stand here with the same goals, and that is student achievement and student success in Pinellas County, to provide a good education in Pinellas County. And we can agree on that issue. And it is because we're able to disagree that we have such an incredible opportunity to be part of this wonderful country where we can come together with different points of view on how to achieve the same goal. And Veterans Day this week is a perfect opportunity to celebrate that, to celebrate all of our veterans as well. We want to thank each one of you who are here today, those that are out there serving our communities and who have served in the past. This Veterans Day, your incredible service and sacrifice, we are coming together to show our gratitude. Without these veterans, we could not be here to discuss education, and I, for one, am very grateful for each one of them. Throughout our district, as Dr. Grego mentioned, we have several incredible events happening, and I just encourage the community to attend if you're able, to show our veterans how much we appreciate them, and to be part of the process of teaching our students what has gone into this great country and to the freedoms that they get to experience each and every day by living here and being part of this community. There is so much to be grateful for this holiday season, and I just implore you all to take time with your families. This is Family Engagement Month. Let's be grateful to be where we are, be together, to have made it here this season. And I'd like to end, I have a great quote here. This is funny enough to be grateful for those who are different for us. This is from a former football player. But every day is a day to be thankful. Life's abundance has no limit, and gratitude is what keeps that abundance flowing. In every circumstance, there's something for which to be thankful. Even when there seems to be nothing else, there is always hope. And that was a quote from Ralph Marston. So thank you all so much, and have a wonderful holiday this month.
Very good. Thank you. Dr. Carr?
Thank you. I also wanted to recognize the food services and you, Mr. Herbeck, for how many interesting circumstances have come forward in the past 3 years, frankly, because I always think from the time of when the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act took place and the level of change and adjustment your division had to take on, and then COVID, and now food services. So there's so many different things that have impacted our operational ways of work, and you've been able to respond to them and pull your team together. Who would have thought we'd be driving the food now to not only serving it? So these are interesting times, and thank you for stepping into that. I also, with it being Family Engagement Month, just am so excited that our district has focused heavily on those early learning elements and providing support to our early learners. When we reflect back, and we see it in ESSER also, and we think about students who are now in second grade, and kindergarten they left at spring break, and then first grade they weren't really, it was an interesting year. We'll just leave it there. And then now to come back in second grade. So not just for those students, but for those families who haven't had these years to develop relationships at the school site. So I'm really grateful to Dr. Brim for taking that initiative, and also to Teaching and Learning for the work in those interventions, which we see the strategies being put in place to provide supports to those students, because we know that's when we learn how to read, and then we'll quickly transition to reading to understand. So reading to learn, learning to read, and then reading to learn. So that's a pivotal time, and I'm excited to see so much investment. I also like to acknowledge something you said earlier, Dr. Grego, which I think is so important, that you recognized the need for us to invest in order to truly address the gap. And I appreciate those words coming from you and your leadership in ensuring that we do that. In our agenda this time, we also had several partnerships with Clearwater, St. Pete, and Palm Harbor, and they're long-standing partnerships, and so many times we can't accomplish the things we do without those partnerships. So I don't want them to go unrecognized. So many times our agenda is packed with different items, and of course we can't pull them all forward, but those partnerships are critical. And going forward with some of our transportation plans, how they've been very helpful to us in ensuring that we have the crosswalks where we need them and in place. Also, the regional swim meet took place, and that's an exciting opportunity for many of our students to participate. We saw it earlier. And for us to also recognize that this week, November 8th to the 12th, is National School Psychologist Week. And during this very difficult time, we have really leaned on our student services, and we felt like we would be remiss not to acknowledge our school psychologist and the excellent work that they do in our schools to provide support to our families and students and helping develop interventions. Their theme for this year for school psychologists is "Let's Get Into Gear." And it's an acronym because, you know, it wouldn't be a school thing if it didn't have an acronym. So let's get into gear, and that is to grow, engage, advocate, and rise. And I really liked the rise because it does imply resilience and renewal after so many challenges. And I too am very excited for this holiday season to express my gratitude and gather with family, which we haven't all had the chance to do. So I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving and look forward to the work that we will continue to do when we return in December.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Hine?
Thank you. You know, I wanted to acknowledge that in my mind. You know, I know our fiscal year here at the district is July 1, and we think of our academic year as, you know, sort of August to May, June. Really, November is kind of our board year. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's when things might transition at election time, and when we talk about chairperson and vice chairperson. I just think that November is kind of our board year. So for me, I've just completed my freshman year, or plebe year, as those of us at the Naval Academy would call it, of board service. So first year. Wow.
What a year.
Yeah, really quite a year. And amazing. You know, certainly we had a lot more focus on the health and wellness pieces, related information, thoughts, policy discussions, and I think anyone could have imagined the amount of time and energy put into that, though I certainly appreciate it. And in addition, I feel like I tried to focus a lot on the strategic plan, bridging the gap plan, really understanding all of those pieces, talking to different people up here about them, and also our fiscal resources, and just, I think, learning and understanding kind of the bigger umbrella of pieces in this first year for moving forward. And I have to say how grateful I am for the fiscal responsibility and oversight. And Dr. Grego, you shared a lot of those thoughts, and, you know, about our use of the ESSER funds, and that's just one example of that, you know, $191 million that we talked about today. So think about, extrapolate that level of detail and attention to the full county budget, and I really appreciate it. And then also with our strategic plan and bridging the gap plan, thank you. It's incredible. So with all of that, I think I look forward to moving back into connecting with people. I feel like I miss, like you mentioned, PTA and all those kinds of things have kind of been difficult over the last couple of years, of course, but really connecting with people. And so the first few months of school this year, I've been to about 14 different schools, and it's been incredible. People have been so welcoming and immediately wanting to share and show their schools and talk about all the good news, which I always appreciate, but also talk about the kinds of things they think that maybe I could be thinking about as well. So thank you. And it's such a reminder, every school I visit with the teachers and the principals and the support personnel and everybody with their light shining, every day, I just have to say thank you. And it just reminds me of all that is going really well in Pinellas County Schools. And I'm going to continue those school visits, and thank you for your reception. I know we've all seen the increase in attention in school boards, and you know what? I'm really excited about that. And I just want to say welcome. I want to say welcome to everybody who's really starting to engage and pay attention to the work of our public school boards. We educate more than 90% of this country's population. It matters. The work that we do and the work that everyone up here at the district and in each of our schools, the way we spend our resources, what we choose to teach, everything matters. And I just really appreciate it. And I appreciate those of you up here and your sincerity and the way that you take it seriously. So, welcome. And I look forward to more community conversations. Like I said, I feel like I've been doing a lot of homework this year, my freshman year, and I look forward to being out there a little bit more and some more direct conversations. And I also just want to say, please do communicate ideas and questions, and I will too. And I promise that I will communicate with you in ways that are relationship building and community building. And I hope and I ask that you do the same. And I just want to say thank you to my colleagues. It has been a year. If we consider this our board year, that's kind of what's in my mind. Just say I really appreciate it. And I value each of you and all the thought and work we've had to go through this year, and that I am excited, grateful, and ready to move into our next year together. So happy Veterans Day. I'm looking forward to celebrating on Thursday at our elementary school. My father and I will both be there. I'm a Navy veteran. He's an Army veteran. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there, and a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Dudley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say that one of the things that, and I don't want to reiterate what everybody said because, it's very eloquent, by the way. You all did a very, very nice job. And you kind of, when you're not the first guy out, a lot of the stuff is done. But I just want to say that it is quite an honor to be up here and work with the group, all of you, my colleagues and the administration. People, I think, don't always understand what goes into running a school board. In this case, over 100,000 students, over 7,000 teachers and educators, and it's a monumental task. And to hold our feet to the fire, it's perfectly fine when you come up here and you speak. And I have always said that one of the biggest frustrations that public has is they don't feel like they get heard. We provide the opportunity to do that. Having said that, most people are very respectful. And of course, some choose not to be, but that's on them. Listen closely to them. We hear what you say. And it's very tough to sit here and sometimes not react. When people say things either truthfully or untruthfully, it is very difficult. Sometimes you want to give it the old nod, and sometimes you go, no. And that's the hard part for me, because I'm kind of animated person. The thing that made this country great is our differences of opinion. And it's very incumbent upon all of us to understand that. it doesn't matter. Political parties kind of delineate part of the way we think, but there are some common denominators. One of those should be educating our children. And I know there's a lot of angst about certain curriculum or curricula that schools present, and I think it's incumbent upon parents to say how they feel about it. And you have the opportunity in representative democracy to elect those people who you feel the same way you do. And I would encourage you to be part of the process. And if you have feelings one way or the other, you should express it. There's nothing wrong with that. I just ask that, think of what's that, you want to respect others, then you should respect them. People want to respect you, you give respect back. And I think that's very important. And I can't say enough about the differences of opinion, and I'll say that till the day I die, is what makes this country better than any other country in the world. This was an experiment that came forth in 1600s. And those people came here and they made sure when they wrote that document, that Constitution, that we had the ability to do that and not suffer reprisals. And and that's what I'm thankful for. And I will be celebrating with my family, as I hope all of you will. And again, I thank all of you for being a part of my experience as I'm coming to the end of, I'm getting a little long in the tooth, as they used to say. And I've had a great ride, and I'm enjoying my time. And each one of you, I don't agree with some of your stuff, but you don't agree with some of mine. That's okay. I sleep well at night. And thank you all, particularly those of you sitting over there, leaders of different departments and so forth, and what all you do. And the people are sitting out there, and they're here, and then why are they here? Because they want to be part of the process. And I thank you and all those who have been here before. So with that, I'm just going to say happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and we will see you in December. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Mrs. Edmond.
Well, it was great to hear all of your comments so far, and many of the sentiments you've expressed, I'd echo. But instead, I'd just like to just share how appreciative this learning experience has been. As Mrs. Hines mentioned, this is our first year serving on the board. And in my first year, I feel like I've accomplished a lot, from getting to know staff in the executive leadership team and diving deeper into misconceptions and looking at policies and procedures that I felt needed to be changed, and just paying attention. I'd also like to say, Dr. Grego and Mr. Corbett, it's been great getting to know you as well and being able to connect with you and ask you questions and express my concerns with you. Whether we agree or not, I appreciate the opportunity to collaborate and bounce ideas off of both yourself, staff, and when we're in our workshops, my colleagues as well. I'd like to just share some of the things that I've had an opportunity to be a part of. Just recently, I went out with Officer Bogger on a ride-along, and it was very informative. Oftentimes, there are misconceptions about policing in school and what actually occurs. So having an opportunity to go the rounds and visit PIMS and go to Jack and see those processes were very insightful. At the last workshop, I mentioned root cause analysis, and I had an opportunity to join Mr. Brown as he showed me exactly the detailed process his team goes through to solve the challenges that they're facing at Gibbs High School. And that's one of the schools who has an ISD specifically for root cause analysis as it relates to our equity goals. So I'm appreciative of Mrs. Wright, her team, as well as everyone that's putting forth intentional effort to address the needs of all students. In October, I went to both Lakewood and Campbell Park, and as we talk about family engagement, they had the perfect examples of family engagement. Community vendors from various places, our St. Pete Police, Fire Rescue, and different vendors were there. I set up a table specifically for the school board, and I passed out candy, information about PTC, and more parents were like, oh, I need that brochure. I think I need to go check out PTC. So I'll just do a PTC plug. If you have not had an opportunity to learn about Pinellas Technical College, please check it out. Great things are happening. Last week was our pinning ceremony for the practical nursing graduates, and I'm just excited about the expansion and everything that's going on with our adult ed. I'd also like to highlight Mrs. Matway. A few weeks ago, Feeding Tampa Bay hosted a panel discussion regarding food insecurity. And some of the words that stuck with me is addressing the needs of the whole child. And many people overlook that although we provide education, it's also our responsibility to do our best to meet the individual needs of all children. And it was truly touching, Mrs. Matway's comments, as well as the facility there. I didn't realize that we also provide adult education at Northwest Church. So again, when we're talking about strategic partnerships, family engagement, and really just giving a hug, that was her words, giving a hug to children and families so that they can meet or exceed their potential. That's what this is all about. And I hope that you all have a blessed Thanksgiving. And again, I'm really appreciative. Oh, one more thing. I also earned certified board member through Florida School Boards Association after 96 hours of professional development. And the bulk of that was done with our staff here. Our staff are providing phenomenal professional development. I earned 21 ESE credits, and that was intentional because I needed that in order to maintain my professional teaching certificate. So I was able to renew that. But we are providing top-notch professional development. And thank you for allowing staff to do whatever they need to do so that each student and family can get the best opportunities that we can provide. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Long.
I'd first like to congratulate Ms. Hines and Ms. Edmond for completing your first year. It's a very exciting time.
Completing or surviving?
Both. Both.
Just checking.
Both. And congratulations. Welcome again. Also, I'd like to say thank you to our 4 new area superintendents and Mr. Masteritis. I'm forgetting some new people, but you came aboard to your new jobs in a very difficult time, and you have done an outstanding job. I have not felt any bumps, and being in this school system for, wow, it's almost 40 years now. Ooh, that's where the gray hair is. You've done an outstanding job. You've all just jumped right in. Dr. Grego, you've really made some good choices. These are outstanding. All of you are outstanding. Our teachers, our support staff. I just want you to have a wonderful, relaxing Thanksgiving. Let's be grateful that we survived this pandemic. We survived it as well as we have. We're leading other districts and states. I have relatives that teach in probably 8 different states, and all of them can't believe what we've done here in Pinellas County. So that's a really accomplishment, and we have a lot to be grateful for. So this Thanksgiving, take time for your loved ones and take time for yourself. You have to take time for yourself first in order to be extremely effective. And the community, you're wonderful. I agree that our community has the right to come up and talk to us. But just remember, we're all human beings. We don't agree, but let's be civil to each other and let's show each other respect, because that's how we are going to be number one, not only in the state of Florida, but nationally. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. You know, there's an expression, the shorter the meeting, the longer the board comments.
That's right.
And I think we proved that today. I hope that we all understand that, you know, we're kind of starting another new year, you know, as we go forward. And we recognize a lot of staff and we recognize a lot of people for kind of going above and beyond. But there was a group that works with Mr. Herbeck. We had people from our Pinellas County Maintenance Department volunteering for the 21st year in Paint Your Hearts Out Clearwater. They went on Saturday when it was breezy and cold and it had just been raining the day before, and they fixed up and painted a home for one of the veterans and also an employee that I think 34 years and he had worked for the district, and they fixed it up. And this is, again, 21 years they have been doing this. So, you know, there's so many things going on that we're just not aware of, how all of our staff is involved in the community and part of it, but also going above and beyond. So I just wanted to highlight them because they don't get recognized very often, and yet they too are extremely important with our district. I'm not going to go on and on and on because I think everything has already been said, and I hope staff realizes how much I appreciate them. Throughout the year, I hope I hit everybody, letting them know what I appreciate. But I do honestly and sincerely wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And with that, if there are no objections, I will adjourn the meeting. I don't think I've ever sat on this side. I know it.
I missed my spot. I'm just getting used to it. It's like driving a car. You got to check out all the buttons. I'm going to go by hands because I'm not used to this. So when we have discussions, I'll go by hands, or you can just speak up on that. So let me call this meeting to order. I call this organizational meeting at the School Board of Pinellas County, Florida, this 9th day of November 2021 at whatever time it is. I don't have a watch, so it's a little bit before 11 o'clock, 11 a.m., 11:58. This meeting is called pursuant to Section 1001.37 of the Florida statutes for the purpose of organizing the school board by election of a chair and a vice chair. I will ask for a moment of silent meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I believe we've all been through this before, so let me get my pen out. I will now open the floor for nominations of chair.
I nominate Eileen Long.
Eileen Long has been nominated as chair. Are there other nominations?
I nominate Nicole Carr.
Dr. Nicole Carr has been nominated as chair. Are there other nominations? Just go ahead and raise your hand, because I don't know how to.
I'd like to nominate myself.
Okay. Caprice Edmonds. Ms. Edmonds has been nominated as chair. Are there other nominations? It's like a tennis match. Hearing no further nominations, I now close the nominations for chair. So we will take it in the order that the individuals have been nominated. So all those in favor of Mrs. Eileen Long signify by raising your hand and saying aye, please.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. So having had the majority of the votes for Mrs. Long, Mrs. Long will serve as the chair of the Pinellas County School Board for this year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I now open the floor for nominations of vice chair. Okay.
Lisa Kane.
Lisa Kane has been nominated as vice chair. Are there other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Carr.
Dr. Carr has been nominated as vice chair. Are there other nominations? Speak now. Hearing no further nominations, I now close the nominations for vice chair. So we'll take the nominations in the same order. All those in favor of Mrs. Kane, Lisa Kane, as a vice chair, please raise your hand.
Aye.
1, 2,
Aye.
3, 4. 4, so that is also the majority. So Ms. Kane, congratulations as the vice chair. So congratulations to both of you for the chair and vice chair. I can say as superintendent, I've worked many boards and many chairs and vice chairs. You're all equal, and so thank you so much for all of you willing to serve as a board member. So this concludes the organizational portion of the meeting. I now turn the gavel over to the new chairperson, Mrs. Eileen Long. You're gonna sit here, and I'll just sit there for the.
And you want your chair back?
Yeah, I do.
Congratulations, Eileen.
Thank you.
It's got grooves in it.
Carol, can you hand my glasses? I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I call this meeting of the Pinellas School Board Leasing Corporation.
No,
That's.
Madam Chair,
You have to do the dates for our meeting first.
Oh, I didn't, I'm sorry. Where are the dates?
Just read this item and ask for a motion.
Okay. All right, I request approval of the schedule of regular school board meetings occurring from December 2021 through November 2022 organizational meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move approval of the schedule.
Second, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. And we now adjourn this meeting. And I'd like to just say thank you to my colleagues for putting the trust in me. This is exciting, and I just hope that we continue to have wonderful times ahead of us. I think we've done a lot as a board. I'm very pleased with what we've done, and I know we can continue to move forward in a strong and positive manner. So thank you. Ms. Kane, do you want to say?
Thank you all so much. I second everything she said. I'm really, truly honored to be nominated. And thank you so much.
Okay, I adjourn this meeting.
There you go.
And now I have to go to leasing.
Now you can do the research.
All right, sorry about that. I call to order the Pinellas School Board Leasing Corporation meeting. New business, election of officers? Is that-
yes, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'll introduce the item. So you are now all sitting in the Pinellas School Board Leasing Corporation's Board of Directors meeting. So you're not sitting as school board members right now, you're sitting as boards of director in a Florida private not-for-profit corporation's Board of Directors meetings. And so the reason we have that, as you all know, but just to quickly review, is for your certificates of participation bonding program. By law, you need to have a private nonprofit corporation to help facilitate the borrowing and the repayment and the construction of those projects. It's just a quirk of Florida law. So as a leasing corporation, you have to have one annual meeting, at least one, and you always have it right after your school board org meeting. And the sole order of business is to elect officers of the corporation and of the board of directors. And so the bylaws and the articles of incorporation contemplate that those people would be the same people as the school board who were just elected at the school board organizational meeting. So, Madam Chair, at this point in time, you should entertain a motion to appoint Eileen Long as the chairperson and president of the corporation, and Mrs. Kane as the vice chair and vice president of the corporation. You may just simply ask for a motion and second to that effect.
Okay, I motion to make Eileen Long.
No. You have the motion, and I'm going to make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I ask for a motion.
Yes. I move that Eileen Long be the president and Lisa Kane be vice president of the corporation.
Do you get paid for being on the board of corporation?
No.
Second.
I have one question. Do we also have to nominate or elect the superintendent again, or is that just a standing position?
No, he has no choice in that matter,
Okay.
so there is
All
no
right.
vote
I just wanted
required.
to get the standing. Okay.
Such a good job.
Good, there you go. All right.
I see that his pen is furiously taking minutes over there, so. So we just need a second for that and then a vote.
Okay, I need a All right, Mr. Dudley seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously. And this meeting is now adjourned.
Tell you what, all the rest of you meetings that short.